Okay, so what we're doing here in KNIME is KNIME is opened up, and here you have all the workflow here. Now, when I originally opened this up, my workflows were not here. I had to go to File, Import Workflows. So if you ever change the file or anything else having to do with KNIME, just you have to search for it again. That's fine. You search for it. When you import it, you'll be able to select the root directory. In that case, I had it in another root directory, and then I was able to bring it up. I selected all and then went through. I renamed it to GrecTech Workflows, and then it came up on this left-hand side pane. Now, what will happen is that you'll have mine's COVID-19 transform, which is what I have here. You see, there's a lot of steps in this transform, and that's okay. We'll go through them one at a time. But a node, everything is based on a node. A stoplight node is what you have here. So you have red, yellow, green. And so what happens is when you first load this stuff in to, let's say, the CSV reader, which we'll go through right now, you may get yellow because the data has not been loaded in yet. So what I did was, it says an error, input file does not exist. That's because I changed all the input files, so I'm cool with that. What I'll do is I will go into my where I need to be, which is going to be my COVID-19 stuff. And remember, I wanted to bring in two pieces of data, right? I wanted to bring in my time series, and I wanted to do a CSV, because this is a CSV reader here, which we'll go through how to get that into the workflow, and then confirmed US. So that's what I wanted to have. When I open it up, it will then tell me, okay, I have a column header and it has row header. Do not check this row header. It only has a column header. Now, all I do is I'll just hit apply. I will hit OK. And when I do that, it'll be in yellow and everything here will be red. What I need to do next is I need to do an execute to make that yellow turn green. That execute will now bring the entire data set in. You can see it's rolling through it. Now everything else here is turned yellow, which is fine. In fact, there's a command you can go through that can make the entire workflow go through. I like to do it step by step to make sure that it's making it correct. Once I bring in that CSV that we talked about earlier with OpenOffice, I rename this node cases. And the reason I name it cases is because I want to know what the different nodes are. You know, I want to make sure this is death and this is cases, not reversed. I want to make sure I have the right database in that right data set. So it's under cases. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a column filter. And when I do the column filter, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all these different columns I don't need. The only thing I need is province, state, and all the dates. That's all I need. So when I do that, I mean, it's relatively straightforward again, right? That's all I need. Remove those. I want these. Cool. So I'm going to execute that. When I execute it, it turns green. Now I'm going to go down, I'm going to right click on it, go down to filter table, and now I see the filter table. It has all the province states, but you notice all the states are all Alabama, all the way through, because they're all the different states. But I do have all the different dates in here, which is good. That worked out good. So now I want what they call variable to table column. In this case, what I want to make sure is I want to make sure that I add a column that only has, that is the type of case. In this case, it's going to be case. It's not confirmed case. It's not going to be death. So I have this under what they call cases diff, underscore diff, to make sure that I have an additional column. And that's all you need to, it's all you need to do. But where does this cases diff come from? Well, it comes from, if you go over here to COVID-19 transfer, which is mine, you go down here to where it says workflow variables. When I click on that, I'm going to see cases diff, and that's value is cases. That means I have a straight column of values the entire way down, cases. This is cases death. I have a value, string value, all the way down. If I want to add any, I could add that, be variable name, the variable type. I can pick double, integer, or string, and I can name any default value I want, and that will fill in the column. So once I do that, then I will hit execute. That will give me my execute area. Now I take a look and see what my input table is with additional columns are. Here I have an additional column at the end, cases diff, it's all cases. Perfect, that's exactly what I wanted. But I'll tell you, that cases is all the way at the back end here. I'd like it right next to province. So before I do that, I'm going to do what they call a group by. When I do the group by, I'm going to group by province and state and cases underscore diff. That's what I'm going to group them by. Think of it as a big VLOOKUP table, right? And on the column naming, I want to keep the original names on this. Very important. I'll show you that why in a second. In my manual aggregation, you notice here that there's a bunch of columns. They're all the date columns. And there's a sum next to it. So what I did was I'm going to remove all these, and I'm going to add all them back in for you. If you see I'm going to aggregate, all I want to do is add all the different cases together and then show Alabama once, Arizona once, all the states just one time with a full complement of the entire sum of those of the data for that specific date. You know, relatively straightforward, right? So I have column, and then I have aggregation. Now what I did was, I'm going to right click on that while it's all blue, and I'm going to put numerical methods and change that to sum. Now I've changed the sum. I'm keeping the original name of the column. If I pick anything else like aggregation method, that means that column now will be named sum, open parens, date, whatever that date is, 2020-01-22, close parens. I don't want that. I want to keep the original name. So when I hit apply and OK, I can go ahead and execute, and then I can check it again. And here's my group table, and you notice Alabama's once, Alaska's once, America Samoa once, all these are once. That's exactly what I want. So far, so good. And if you notice this, the cases are up here. Now, the reason it did that wasn't because of anything that it's automatic or anything else. It's because when I did group by, it moved it. But I'm going to show you how to move it if you want to do it another way. So the first thing I want to do is I want to change that cases underscore diff. I don't want that in my database. I want that changed to type. The reason is because when I concatenate these two areas, cases and death, I want one column name, one. And that one column name is going to be type. So I'm going to do a column rename. That's going to be cases diff. I'm going to change that. So I double click on that. When I double click on it, it'll say, okay, what do you want to do? I want to change it to type. I just type that in, TYPE. It's a string value. Works out perfect because remember, column names are strings normally. I apply it. I hit it. Okay. I go down. I hit execute. And then I double click again. I renamed retype title, and there it is. Type all cases. So far, so good. Everything is working out just dandy here. Now, I have a column resorter, and that's if that cases did not go back up there. What I would do is I want to have province, state, and type. That type might be down here, it might be in the middle, whatever it is. I want to move that to first and then move it down one. So I'll move it to first, down one, and then don't worry about this one, any unknown column, new column, don't worry about that, because any unknown new column will automatically come in after that, which is actually fine. That works for me. I'll apply it, hit OK. I will hit execute, and then I will do the output data, and there it is. It's all nicey-nicey. Looks really good. So what happens from there? Well, what happens from there is that I need to do deaths next, right? So the deaths would be the same thing. I would go up and I would make sure that I was in the proper folder, COVID-19. I have my data, COVID master, data, time series, and then I have death US. Everything looks good. I apply it. All the nodes are going to be reconnected. That's fine. That works. I hit that. I execute it. It's going to roll through. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to execute every single one of these because they're the exact same one as I originally had with the one up above. That's exactly the same way I want to do it. And then I'm going to concatenate these. When I concatenate them, it's going to look like this. I'm going to have cases, And I'm going to have death. That's exactly what I want. And I want this, and then I have the province, state, the type, all the dates along the right-hand side. That works perfect. Now then I want to write it back to what I call the current statistics. So to do that, I'm going to make sure I have current stats. Directory output file does not exist. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to go ahead and just set up one. So I'm going to set this up in the COVID-19 area. And this is going to be current stats. Okay, so that's warning output file exists, which means I'm going to overwrite it, which is fine. I don't care about that. If file exists, overwrite. I just want the most current one, so it works out fine. There's a lot of different things in here you can do, but you can cover that. You can explore on your own. I'm going to apply that. I'm going to hit OK. When I hit OK, I'm going to execute. When I execute it, it's going to write over that. So now we're done with KNIME. I've done everything I wanted to do with it, and now I'm going to be able to move on there. This OSM map viewer is OpenStreetMap's map viewer. I'm using that to do geographic aspects, and we'll do that in another video at another time. All right, so I'm done. So now I can close out of KNIME because I have my current stats, and I'm going to make sure that everything is saved, and then that'll go away. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Gapminder. Now when I open up Gapminder, it's going to give me it's going to be kind of neat because it is literally the offline download I mean, I am not online at this point in time. This is a download from Gapminder, free of charge. It's nice, and it's a very nice visual, but you have to do things their way, which is okay. So I'm going to do a new chart. It's going to be a bubble chart. I could do rankings, mountains, lines. I don't want any of that. I want a bubble chart. When I do a new chart, I'm going to say your data, CSV file. I want to do bubbles. I want to do time goes right. Now, how do I know that? Well, let's go to the example. This is an example. See how the time goes right? You have a country or state or province. You have an indicator here, right? And then you have this. It's got to be set up that way. If it's not set up that way, it's not going to work. So I choose my CSV file, and I'm going to do that by going to my desktop again, hit my desktop, go to COVID-19, there you go, current stats. Now when I hit that, it's going to say, okay, choose CSV file, I'm doing well, and then time values look like this. Well, you remember what I told you? Make sure you make it look like that, right? Year, month, day. Once I do that, I'm going to hit OK. When I hit OK, it's going to do some calculating, and now I have a visual of every single state all the way from January 22nd all the way until April the 4th. Now guess what this one is? You can put your cursor right over top of that. There's New York. This is New Jersey. Michigan. You can see deaths 259, cases 7,620. Washington, Florida, Georgia, Texas, Pennsylvania, all these different ones. You can see automatically what those are. I mean, you can click on it, and now all I have is Massachusetts. And so what I do is I'm going to move this out of the way, and I can track Massachusetts all the way back. But the problem is I'm only this far, right? I don't have all this white space. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to click over here on the zoom in area, click this a couple times, make this bigger, and then use the hand to move it this way. So now I can see Massachusetts all the way from January. Nothing ever started really until March, and then you see everything starts to go here, and there's Massachusetts. It's growing, and you can see how much it is. 8,970 cases, 154 deaths. But what are these up here? Well, that one still go. Louisiana, California, Washington. Washington was one of the first ones. It says 6,390 as of April the 3rd. But look at California. almost 11,000 with 238 deaths. So this is a way of analyzing and visualizing COVID-19 coronavirus data, any type of data that you really want, using free and open source applications. I hope you enjoyed it. Please be safe, be healthy. I will put the different sites to be able to download your applications as well as your data. You can play with the data. Another area is Kaggle, www.kaggle.com, and you can get data there also free of charge. Have a great day. Please stay healthy, and above all, please be kind to one another.